Are you in a one-sided relationship? Let's get into it. Do you even know if whether or not you're in a mutual relationship or if you're in a one-sided relationship, right? So, typically relationships or, interests start like with both people interested in each other, both people like reaching out, talking to each other, inviting each other out, right? But then sometimes what happens is that one person starts to do less. They start to reach out less, they start to initiate less, they start to have less conversations, like a lot of short answers, right? But the thing is that the other person who sometimes is not paying attention doesn't realize that now they're in this what I call one-sided relationship, right? Because the other person has maybe moved on, maybe they're not as interested. And so what happens a lot of times is that you're the one who invites them out. And of course they come, why not? If I'm gonna get a free meal or whatever that is, why not, right? If you wanna entertain me, look, I'm not gonna be mad, I'm gonna let you, right? And so that's what happens. It's like one person is responsive, but they're not initiating, right? And the initiator is not paying attention to the fact that all this person is doing is responding. You say hello, they say hello. But if you don't say hello, they don't say hello, right? You invite them to lunch. They say yes. You go to lunch. You have a good time. It's all good, right? But they don't invite you to lunch, dinner, whatever, honey, because they are just the people who are like along for the ride. They're like, I'm not pursuing you, you're pursuing me. So if you invite me to dinner, honey, I'm gonna come because it's a free meal and I'm good with that, right? So that's what we call a one-sided relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of people, and including me, sometimes don't pay attention enough to realize that's what's happening. It's like, you don't realize that all this other person is doing is responding. They may invite sometimes, but it's typically you who is inviting, and they'll go along, honey. They may even pay. But let me just say, I don't even know why they pay, because it's like they're not that interested. But maybe that's just a kind thing to do. That's polite, right? I don't know. But, they show up, right? They respond, but they don't initiate. And what that means to me is that they feel like you're pursuing them, right? And let me just say that who doesn't want to be pursued? We all want to be pursued to some degree, right? So they're letting you and allowing you to pursue them, but they're not trying to pursue you. So whatever you put out there, they may take, they may grab a hold, they may be receptive to all of that, right? But the problem is that what are you getting out of it? Are you just getting, a dinner date who may or may not pay? I don't know. Are you getting like a good morning after you've said good morning to them, right? So my question is that do you know when a relationship is one-sided? And do you want to be in a one-sided relationship? Because I know I don't. I want things to be mutual. I want you to mutually like me, like I mutually like you, right? I want you to say good morning to me, and I will say good morning to you, or good night, or whatever that is, right? I want you to invite me out or to invite me over, just like I'm going to do the same thing for you. And let me just tell y'all, for those of us who are very, very busy, sometimes we don't pay attention, and sometimes we don't get it when things become, one-sided. So let me just say to you that if a person is not initiating conversation, if a person is not inviting you out, right? If a person is not showing up for you in a way that like you show up for them, then you're probably in a one-sided relationship, right? And at some point in time, maybe you weren't paying attention and they didn't say nothing because, they're good with, you pursuing them, because, who doesn't want that, right? But let me just say, for those of you who are looking for relationships, real relationships, I have a test. This is my test, I tell everybody. If you send them a message, how long does it take them to send back? Maybe a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, maybe a couple of days. So you send them a message, they respond. Now, the question is, do they ever ask you a question? Do they, because to me, a person who doesn't ask you questions is probably not interested in you. And a person who takes too long to respond is probably not that into you. So those are the things that you need to look out for, right? Let me recap. One-sided relationships are not what you want to be in, right? If you meet someone and it's going well, and then all of a sudden, you realize that person is not inviting you out anymore. That person is not saying good morning to you or good night, whatever that is, and you're doing all the talking via text or in person or whatever that is. Or maybe even that person don't even pick up the phone, honey. You call, they never pick up the phone. They may call you back a few hours later or a day or two later, right? But that's because, if you ask me, they may have somebody already, or they're pursuing someone themselves outside of what you are, pursuing with them, right? So these are the things that you have to watch out for, because you don't want to be in a one-sided relationship. You want it to be mutual. So I would say a test is, are they sending you a good morning text? How long does it take them to respond, right? Are they asking you any questions? And if they aren't, more than likely, you're in a one-sided relationship. And I would say, and I always say this to people, send a text, see if they respond, and if they don't respond, then you don't respond.